So we have Bitcoin trading at all-time highs yet again. This is the highest daily close, weekly close, and potentially this month, the highest monthly close that we would have ever seen for Bitcoin. And there's absolutely nothing bearish about that, despite what many of the market sentiments might tell you. A lot of people are still feeling bearish, but partly that is due to the Bitcoin dominance rising, which means some of the altcoins are coming down. So we have a lot to cover in today's show. We're going to have a look at what the best opportunities would be if I had to start pretty much with $5,000 all over again and try trade my way up to $100,000. We'll have a look at what I would be interested in buying. You would have to go far down the risk curve to pull essentially a 20x return. There's actually a poll which is currently running in the comment section. Please do go through over there and vote as well. What realistic portfolio returns are you expecting for 2025? 5x, 10x, 10 to 20x, or above 20x because you believe it's a super cycle? Go through, vote over there, smash the like button, hit the bell notification, subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into the show content. It's actually a massive week, a huge week for the crypto markets because there's some major economic events which are taking place. We'll have a look at that and the implications of what that may mean. But starting off over here on the high time frames, monthly time frame, right? It's been a picture perfect, very easy trade, which we've nailed pretty much every single step of the way since the lows, which all start off actually as a falling wedge formation, breaking back into the trading range during periods of backwardation. And we went absolutely giga long over there at that $16,500 to $17,200 level. And we pretty much ran this all the way to the top. We then broke out of a cup and handle formation, and we had a target in mind at the 1.618. And we took a fractal from actually the previous cycle over here when you compared the exact same time period. And according to the fractal, well, Bitcoin could rally all the way up to about $125,000. Now, fractals won't make you rich because most of the time they don't work out. But it is interesting food for thought when you line it up with the seasonality perspectives. So everything is played out to perfection. What next? What can you expect to occur next for the crypto markets? Well, first and foremost, let's pay attention to how the monthly candle unfolds over here and how it closes specifically, because we currently caught right at that 1.618 fib extension. That's when you use your Fibonacci tool and you anchor from the top to the bottom over there. And you look at where those extension targets are. Well, the 1.618 was coming in over here at $102,000. Now, if we're able to close above that, that's where you could see rapid expansion beyond that point. So this candle closing above that 1.618 is going to be very significant, because if you do, you open up the possibility to continue this momentous move towards the upside. And then you have your 2.618 coming in at $155,000. Now, that would be a major extension. I do believe there'd be some form of a pullback before we hit those targets over there. So do stay tuned until the very end, because there is a lot that we have to uncover in today's show for how quick things could move. One of the things that I'm looking at over here is the volatility adjusted power law index. And what this index essentially suggests is that we are actually pretty much right here in neutral territory, right? Very neutral. If you look at it, sitting at 60. But the important point to understand is when you have a look at this index, which just shows, you know, how quickly things could get going, it would suggest that when you actually get back into the 60 zone, like we have seen previously, things start to heat up very quickly. And as Sina, who posted this, suggests, get ready for violent moves, right? Violent moves, most likely towards the upside, right? Because we're in a trend in motion. And this is, at the end of the day, a bull market. Now, ultimately, you'll have very few opportunities to get positioned into the right coins before that violent move takes place. So the lesson over here is most likely going to be, you want to be positioned. At the end of the day, you want to be positioned. There's not really the time or the place in the market where you want to be trading in and out. You simply just want to buy the right coins, sit on your hands, and wait for that volatility expansion and the violent move to take place. And when that violent move takes place, that's where you should be positioned, that you're now in the mindset of taking profits as opposed to trying to find new trades to get into the market with. So what could bring this violent move? What could bring the increased volatility, since Bitcoin is already trading at all-time highs yet again? Well, one thing that it could be is you're already seeing a lot of the degens placing their bets over here on poly markets, and that is will Trump create a Bitcoin reserve, a strategic reserve in the first 100 days, once he comes into office? And so far, there's a 35% chance. That's what they're pricing it in at. We've seen how this has worked out, right? There's a lot of players putting their money where their mouth is. Now, of course, there's absolutely no guarantee that if this starts to say 80%, 90%, that it is actually going to happen. But nevertheless, we've seen Polymarkets work out over the election phase to be pretty accurate in all of the predictions. So I think we'll keep an eye out on this. If this starts to trade above 60, 70%, that could bring that next wave of attention into the crypto markets. And there's a lot that we need to focus on in the interim, because we need to position ourselves correctly into the altcoin sector. Right now, we're still waiting for next year to be a massive year where we see a breakdown in the Bitcoin dominance, just like previously, right? 3 years sideways or up, followed by the fourth and final year with a massive breakdown. 3 years up, fourth year, massive breakdown, 3 years up. And you can see coming into this trend line over here. And we are still waiting for that massive breakdown in the altcoin sector, which should drive prices higher. And we're getting also, of course, that trend line retest for the RSI on the monthly scale for the Bitcoin dominance. So lining up the yearly potential top over there coming in, as well as the downsloping trend line, where you look on a monthly scale with that divergence taking place over there. Is the top in? That is the question mark, right? So far, it looks more than likely that it is in. But what we'll really need to see to bring the altcoin sector into a full-on risk-on environment is what's going to happen at the FOMC meeting, which is coming up, of course, this week on Wednesday. This is the big economic event that all eyes should be on. You can see currently, according to this, there's a probability of a 25 basis point rate cut. That's a 93.4% chance that the Fed will cut interest rates. But the most important thing that you need to be looking at is that FOMC statement when it does come out. We're waiting to still see, is the Fed going to continue to reduce their balance sheet, right? Are their assets continuing to reduce, or are they going to start to add to their balance sheet, increasing their asset holding? And if they do increase their asset holding, then you want to be trading in alignment with the Fed. And that's ultimately where we should see full-blown altcoin season and the breakdown of Bitcoin dominance, which all the charts are indicating should be coming very, very soon. We've seen already the first etchings of that breakdown on Bitcoin dominance, but we need to see a little bit more, right? We haven't seen a full high time frame trend reversal yet. We've just had the start of the breakdown. We now need to print the higher, or the lower high at least, on the Bitcoin dominance. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. And you can see over here, there is a slowdown, right? From what has been an aggressive downtrend over there, you are starting to turn a corner over here. And we want to start to see this red line trending towards the upside, signifying that the Fed have essentially fully pivoted from reducing their balance sheet to now adding assets back. And that's where altcoin season typically occurs. So looking at Bitcoin dominance on a little bit of a lower time frame, the main area of interest that I'm focused on right here now is on the 4-hour time frame. We have your 200 MA, which is downtrending. It lines up with the mid-range over there. And we did speak about the bounce off of the yellow level that we marked out previously. That was your order block that led to the big move up. You came back, tested it, and you have started to move towards the upside, which is why in the short term, some of the altcoins are suffering slightly. But let's observe as it comes into this mid-range over here, would be looking for a rejection off of that zone. And if you do get the rejection off that zone, hopefully that sends Bitcoin dominance down quicker, and that brings that altcoin season. And if you look at the trajectory and the timing as well, you could see how this could very easily line up potentially with Wednesday, right? If we move this trajectory up over there and you look at the vertical line running down the screen, you'll see that lines up Wednesday, the 18th of December, which is exactly the time period where we'll be getting that next FOMC meeting and the rate cut or hike decision, right? So very, very interesting, very important when you line up the timing over here. We'll continue to monitor that. Here's Bitcoin in terms of support levels that are underneath current price action. We've, of course, had an absolute stellar move over here, now trading up at $105,271. And we have a lot of support below price action over here. Remember, we spoke about the stop and reversal indicator, those little asterisk signs rising up. And by next week, which is now this week, meeting up, of course, with that 21 weekly exponential moving average. And there it is, right? So you got your 50% level, which you're constantly adjusting for based on how high price goes as it currently stands, lining up pretty much exactly with that spot, $77,830. That is also your CME futures gap, right? So that is your level to watch for. Strong horizontal support. You have your stop and reversal indicator. You have your 21 weekly exponential moving average. These are key zones where you want to see price hold above. If price does happen to pull back, expect that this is going to be major support, right? Around that $77,000 to $80,000 territory. Now, the move is getting heated, right? If you look at Bitcoin's longest weekly winning streak since 2021, this is it, right? This is the longest winning streak that we've seen, with 7 consecutive 7 consecutive green weeks in a row. We need to look for any sort of weakness within this trend. I think a key level to be looking out for is, again, going to be around that $120,000, $125,000 level. Expect that there might be a little bit of profit taking from that zone, and then prices could come down, right? It's just a question of what the altcoins do. As it currently stands in terms of the broader cycle, so if you're looking over the rest of the bull run, how heated are things? Is it overheated? Is it a point? Is it the 120K level, a zone where you should be just selling everything and walking away? Well, according to this, not really, because we're currently only in the 0.6 to 0.7 risk band, which we typically have spent in previous cycles at least a year in that zone. Where you expect that things start to get really overheated is, that 0.7 to 8, 0.8 to 9, or in very seldom cases, you see 0.9 to 1. That is typically the territory where you sell everything and you completely walk away. If you look at this current cycle, which is cycle 5, we haven't even once got into the 0.8 or 0.9 to 1 levels. We've only been situated for 19 days in the 0.7 to 8. And currently we're in this bracket over here, which is trend in motion, right? Business as usual, trend in motion. We haven't got to the sell all and walk away zone just yet, right? We can also back that up using this over here, which is the aggregate funding rate. In actual fact, we haven't even taken out the levels that we got to when Bitcoin printed $74,000, which is a pretty incredible divergence over here, with price, of course, putting in higher highs, while you still have the funding rates putting in lower lows in terms of the 74K level that we were at previously. Not to mention the 2021 levels over here on the left-hand side, nowhere even close to that, which shows that, you could really start to trend aggressively and start to move into the 0.7 to 8, 0.8 to 9, or even the 0.9 to 1 level, and you could see much higher prices. Also, another thing that's a bit of good news over here, we have printed the bull moon, right? Very, very good. We printed the bull moon over here. It's official, and you're starting to see prices move towards the upside. You have price above the yellow line, which is 103,924. Simply put, that means the RSI is now trending back towards the upside. And if that RSI can start to get into the 80 zone over here, that's where your real parabolas start to form, where everything goes up vertically, right? So all looking good and healthy, specifically for Bitcoin. We'll pay attention to those upside targets again around that $120,000, $125,000 level. Stay tuned, right? Especially over the holiday season. Volumes are low, and that means it takes less money to really get prices moving higher, probably over the next 2 weeks, as many take off over the December time period, right? We'll also see if they decide to reposition into altcoins over that December period. Remember, we've spoken about this a lot. We've looked at the seasonality, and according to the seasonality, this is typically the time period leading over December, the end of December into January, February, where Ethereum specifically tends to outperform, especially when you are in a post-halving cycle, which is currently where we're at, right? With the expectation of putting in that massive Bitcoin dominance drop. So a lot of things to pay attention to, a lot of moving parts right now. Again, just finishing off over here with Bitcoin specifically, we reclaimed some of those key levels. We spoke about holding above the previous month's high, getting back above last week's Monday high, and we did that already, and that started to lead to the breakout. So looking really, really good over there for continuation. The measured move of the ascending triangle that we had previously worked out from here, that would take Bitcoin up to about that $116,000 mark. And then your cup and handle confluence that we have on Bitcoin takes it into that 120 zone, right? So a lot of different things to look at. Speaking of the cup and handles, we've seen this on repeat occur across the S&P 500, NASDAQ, as well as gold, with many of the trades playing out. And if you look over here at 𝗕𝗤𝗙𝗢𝗡, he says high-risk assets lag structurally, but they peak with lower-risk ones at macro cycle tops. Now, the lower-risk ones would be gold and the S&P 500. Those ones are now peaking, which means you expect the laggards to catch up aggressively and start to move, right? As large caps like the S&P 500 and gold have grown, lower caps like NASDAQ 100 and crypto are starting to catch up. BTC and Total 3 have broken out. ETH is very, very, very close. So if I just move my head out of the way there and you have a look at this, here it is, right? S&P 500, perfect cup and handle formation. And this is looking at things on a super high time frame. Huge move towards the upside. NASDAQ, same thing, cup and handle formation, huge move towards the upside. Still yet to reach the measured move target over there. Gold, we already played that. We actually long gold on the breakout of this to perfection, to the exact cycle top. That was one of the best trades ever in relation. I mean, that was for a 14% move without considering leverage. And we spoke about that. To put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of getting 100x long on something like crypto when you get a 14% move on a $11 trillion asset class trade. That is absolutely enormous. And the good news is, well, if you look at Bitcoin over here, it's only just started to break out, right? So it's got a long way to go. ETH also only just started to break out. The 𝗙𝗢𝗙𝗢𝗡 miners ETH, which is Total 3, also just started to break out, which is where the real money is going to be made in that altcoin sector, right? So a lot to look at over there. And again, what could bring it? We spoke about that. What could bring it? Of course, if we start to see the Fed adding to their balance sheet once again, as opposed to reducing their assets, right? So that's the one thing that we're going to be paying attention to and looking out for. Just going back to this over here, you can see it's also supported by our volatility index, which is below. That is the Bollinger Band with percentile on Bitcoin. Bollinger Band with percentile on the 15-day time frame over here is still trending towards the upside. It hasn't reached those previous times where we expect the tops to occur. We will expect to see the red prints over here. That shows you that things are very, very heated in the market. And we're not at that heated point. This supports essentially what we're looking at over here on this chart, which suggests that current risk level, we at about that 0.6 to 0.7. It's business as usual. It's trend in motion. We're not yet, according to this, in the extremely, extremely overheated territory, right? So we'll keep an eye on this. Ethereum, as you can see, only just starting to leave the lower range over there. If you look at Solana, also only just started to leave the lower range over there, currently putting in a short-term consolidation. But similar to all these cup and handles that I just showed you, we're seeing this across the board within the altcoin sector, with Solana being one of the majors that has led the majority of the move. Big cup and handle formation, only just peeking its head right out of the neckline over there, which means much higher prices. When you look at a lot of the other altcoins, you'll see a lot of the other altcoins are actually only situated somewhere down here if you compare to where Solana is, right? Situated somewhere down here, still expecting a huge move up just to get to the neckline. Maybe it puts in a bit of correction just like Solana did, just like ETH did, just like Bitcoin did, and then it starts to expand from that point. So we have support from that Bollinger Band with percentile. And then I think the most important chart that most people are not looking at is Total 3 divided by Bitcoin, to see the relationship between the altcoin sector and Bitcoin, because ultimately at the end of the day, all we want to do here is we want to make as much Bitcoin as we possibly can, right? So there's a time and a place to be heavily invested into Bitcoin and to be a Bitcoin maxi. And then there's a time and a place to be heavily invested into altcoins and be an altcoin maxi, one of the moon boys calling for alt season, right? And this chart will tell you when that's the time, right? And according to this chart over here, well, we'll look at it on a bit of the low time frames where we've seen some early signs of a breakup structure, early signs that altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. But in terms of the volatility, still very, very low. Now, you always want to establish your altcoin positions during those time periods of low volatility. Same as Bitcoin, we establish our positions around the 16,500 to 17,000 lows when the Bitcoin volatility was very, very low. And now we're up almost 6x because of it. Now, we're looking to do the same thing over here on this particular pair, right? So continuing on over here, you can see a very, very bullish weekly close. If you look at that candle over there, massive, right? Massive wick that's been formed over here, showing strong bullish demand, trading price all the way back to the top of the range. And we spoke about why the sell-off that occurred over Tuesday was most likely a massive bear trap and a big shakeout before the next big move up. We looked at the fractal as well that we had on Bitcoin from 2020 and all the similarities, not only within those actual candles, but the similarities that occurred in terms of what we saw the funding rates doing at that particular point in time. And that supported why it was likely a shakeout. And now you have the total cryptocurrency market cap, once again, trading back towards the all-time highs. The importance of this chart is that as long as we see this continuing to trend up, it means new money is coming into the system, right? New money is entering into crypto, as opposed to it being a rotational game where all the money is moving from coin A into coin B into coin C, and therefore there's actually no rise in the total cryptocurrency market cap. We want to see this moving up because it means new money is coming in, new people are coming in, and that shows you the sustainability of the bull run, right? So we would want to see this trend up very, very quickly into next year. Need continuation. And according to the timing factors over here, remember, we can actually work this out. First and foremost, I just want to highlight, this is also a cup and handle formation that's breaking, just like we saw across all these various different asset classes. There's your cup. There's your handle. You broke the neckline over here and it's starting to move up. And the measured move in the short term is at least up to 4.4 trillion, right? And I think that the total crypto market cap can go, well above that, possibly even closing in on gold's $11 trillion market cap levels, which is still a lot more upside over there. Okay, looking at total 2, same story over here. Very bullish wick. They're going to be the same across the board. Total 3, same thing over here. Total 3 really needs to reclaim this level at 1.2 trillion, getting a hold above that, and then you have a proper breakout on your hands. Just revisiting others, same thing, right? Others, cup and handle formation, breaking out, still needs to get above the previous highs from 2021. And I guess when you take out those highs, that's where it's really going to feel like altcoin season. This is where your lower cap coins, so this is using CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko's list of 10,000, 20,000 coins, however many they have, and subtracting the top 10, which is where the majority of the market cap lives. If you get above that level, 460 billion, that's where the true altcoin season, at least in terms of feelings, begins to take place. In actual fact, a lot of the alts have been outperforming. You can see since the lows, there has, of course, been already a 484% move, whereas Bitcoin, we said, was just under 600% move from the lows. So slowly but surely catching up to where Bitcoin is, and hopefully soon it's going to surpass that. So looking at total 3 measured against Bitcoin, there it is, break of structure. You're coming back into that. You're now looking for the higher low. If you can confirm that higher low, this is possibly the very, very start of that trend reversal, where on a high time frame, you should see things completely outperform. Same story, others measured against Bitcoin, break of structure, throwing back into that as support, looking for the high low, and we're waiting for that continuation, right, to outperform Bitcoin completely. So we'll be looking to profit take, essentially. You want to establish your positions now, and then you want to look to profit take during this time period, right, where alts completely outperform Bitcoin. If this is the very, very start, understand that these moves towards the upside can happen very, very quickly. We've seen in the past, it happens within a matter of a couple of days, right? If you look at this over here, that is 154 days where you just see face melting rallies. And it was the same thing was true in the 2017 cycle. So you want to be adequately positioned. You want to be looking towards the right coins. We want to see the USDT dominance also continue to trend down. Now, the interesting thing is this was tracking very, very similar to what we saw specifically on Bitcoin dominance. So let's quickly pull that across over there. Let's move that up. There we go. If you look at Bitcoin dominance over here, Bitcoin dominance also had a similar trend line, and they've been following in almost exactly the same way. But Bitcoin dominance has not yet broken this yellow line down, whereas USDT dominance has, right? USDT dominance breaking this trend line down and moving towards these candles coming towards the downside simply means money's flowing out of Tether, the stablecoin, into the crypto market. That combined with the total cryptocurrency market cap moving towards the upside shows new money coming into the market, and it's all moving into the risk on assets. Again, a reminder that usually when we see these safe assets like the S&P 500, gold, Nasdaq, etc., reaching their cup and handle peaks, that's where the rest of the things start to play catch up, right? So we'll keep an eye on that, right? Very, very important. We want to see this now break and hold specifically above 3.79. That's the next target. We'll keep an eye out on this over the coming days, specifically into Wednesday. So if the result is what we're looking for on Wednesday, as per the FOMC meeting, that should be enough to break this down. Okay. As long as I see ETH BTC trading near the entry price, at least, of this risk to reward tool that we've set up over here. So entry over there, stop loss down here, take profit at the top. As long as we're trading near the bottom over here, I feel that the better risk to reward ratio trade is to be taking, moving into altcoins, right? Trying to establish positions into altcoins slowly but surely, or aggressively. It's up to you how quick you want to do it. But at the end of the day, adding to Bitcoin longs here doesn't make any sense to me. Adding into longs into altcoins makes total sense to me, right? Once ETH crosses this $4,000 mark over here, especially on a weekly closing candle, which could be this week, could be next week. Either way, I think it's very, very soon. If it's not on this side of the year, then it'll be early next year that you should see this happen. And then you're looking for rapid acceleration, right? That's very quickly going to break total 3, which we spoke about, and the others chart above the 2021 highs. And that's where we said we're going to see rapid expansion very, very quickly towards the upside. And therefore, once this breaks, right? Once we start to see, again, the ETH BTC ratio break out of this falling wedge over here, that's going to be where I'm probably done. I'm done allocating. There's no more allocations for me anymore. Now it's just shifting my mindset into how much money am I going to make towards the upside? Where am I going to take my profits? And how much of those profits am I going to take? That is going to be my stance and my shift within the market. So final call, final buys, all within this area over here. Maybe it creates a bit of a trap and comes lower one more time. Nevertheless, the closer you are towards the yellow line on the bottom over here, the better in terms of establishing those altcoin picks. And this is a longer term trade, because the question is it altcoin season? Well, over the last 90-day period, we did see a glimmer of hope where the altcoin season index line, this is the red one over here, tracked, of course, above the 70 mark, showing that most of these coins had been outperforming Bitcoin over the last 90 days. But if you look in the shorter term, over 30 days, well, we're still in that altcoin season index zone, right? So 30 days, of course, it's going to trade into that zone first over 30 days. And if it continues to hold there, then the 60-day one's going to pivot into that zone. And then the 90-day, which is a real lagging indicator, will also trend into that altcoin season zone, flashing on and off the screen over there. And that's where the majority of your altcoins are outperforming. So point is, right, you want to establish your positions early into periods of low volatility for the altcoins before you get that big move, right? Before you get this volatility expansion where the violent moves take place, right? When you establish those red zones, that's where you're looking to exit the market, even though that's where the biggest moves take place, right? That's where you want to start to position out of the market. So what should you be establishing your positions into if you had $5,000 and you want to allocate it into the market, and you want to go for the $100,000 victory, which is a 20x gain from current levels? What should you be looking at? What should you be buying? Now, this is going to come with high risk because based on the various metrics that we've showcased and where the total cryptocurrency market cap is, realistically, you're looking for the rest of the total market cap to maybe move up between a 3 and a 5x. So depending on what you voted over here, we can see how many of you are, at least what your realistic expectations are. So most of you are only looking for in that realistic zone of a 5x return. Some of you for 10x. So the vast majority of you want between 5 and 10x's. And then you got the real degens out there that are going for the home run shot, right? 14 and 13% of you are looking for above 10x returns. Some of you even 20x returns. Now, the 20x returns are possible, right? It is possible, absolutely. But you have to consider it's going to take a lot of risk, right? You got to go far down the risk curve, and you got to be playing 4 or 5D chess, right? As opposed to checkers where you're trying to move from large caps into mid caps into low caps, you're going to have major foresight as to what comes next, and you have to take major risk, which comes with the chance that you could be wrong and you could lose everything. But ask yourself, how much time will it take you to make back the $5,000, and how much time would it take you to make the $100,000, right? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Now, if I was looking for something that's a 10x return, I would have to look towards the meme coin sector, right? This is where your highest risk to reward plays are, but you need to look to things that are established. So what is established? Well, one thing that's established is 𝗕𝗬𝗙, right? If you look over here, this is kind of the darling child of the meme coin sector within this particular cycle. And I think it's the chosen one, right? We saw Elon Musk over the last couple of weeks tweeting at least the 𝗕𝗬𝗙 meme, right? The image of the frog over and over again, showing multiple things. I can't say, I'm not a fortune teller. We don't know for sure. But if this is maybe him biting into 𝗕𝗬𝗙 and looking for, a position in that, that could be one thing that brings mass adoption. Now, there's higher beta plays on top of 𝗕𝗬𝗙, which we'll talk about. And I believe this is probably where the 20x returns plus are, right? One of which we've already given in Whale Room, and you guys are already 10x up on that current position. So if you look at this over here, there are some big players, right? Whale withdrew $5.6 million worth of 𝗕𝗬𝗙 from Binance 10 minutes ago. This came out earlier this morning. This shows you the conviction, right? They're obviously still loading up on these positions and essentially withdrawing those funds onto a ledger so that they can hold it for the majority of the cycle. You also have this, right? This was in New Jersey. These guys have a big marketing budget, a very cult-like following by 𝗕𝗬𝗙, using drones to essentially share these images. This is absolutely wild, right? This is what can bring that mainstream adoption. So could 𝗕𝗬𝗙 be the Dogecoin of this cycle? I think it's very, very possible, but it traded up to about $11.5 billion market cap. How much higher could it go? I believe it'll go over 100 billion, right? So that's a 10x from here, about a 10x from here. So those of you that are looking for a 10x return, something with high liquidity, you're probably going to be looking for something like 𝗕𝗬𝗙, right? That's the type of risk that you're going to need to take. Now, this is your 𝗕𝗬𝗙 chart. How low could it go? Well, if in a little bit of another flush, if there is another flush, you could see something like that, right? You could come possibly back down to the bottom of the range over here, which is why if you are going to position into this, you kind of want to scale in using that pyramid approach, right? Smaller positions at the current level. And if it does happen to come back down towards the base of support over here, which for 𝗕𝗬𝗙 would be last four digits, 1740, that's where you're going to put the bulk of your orders in. So smaller positions at the top, bigger positions at the bottom. That means you're reducing your risk as price comes down. And understand, maybe you're not going to get your full position size in, but I do believe you'll see a rapid expansion and 𝗕𝗬𝗙 will trade a lot higher. Now, there are higher beta plays that you can look at above and beyond this, right? We've spoken about Matt Fury's collection from the Boys Club. We've touched on it briefly. Some of you went and you actually positioned yourself into these trades and you've done pretty well, right? So the Boys Club is essentially consisting of 𝗕𝗬𝗙. I'm looking at 𝗕𝗬𝗙 on ETH specifically. You'll find there's plenty of copycats, plenty of derivatives. You got 𝗕𝗬𝗙 on Sol, 𝗕𝗬𝗙 on Base. You got 𝗕𝗬𝗙 on basically every single chain that's out there. But the one that I'm looking at is the mainstream one, 11.5 billion. It's 𝗕𝗬𝗙 on ETH, right? Okay, next, the other one I'm looking at is Brett, part of the Boys Club. Of course, I have a huge position established over here. I think that a 15x on Brett is still a possibility from current levels. This is a high beta play. I'm going down the risk curve from 𝗕𝗬𝗙 being the least risky to Brett being next, right, in terms of the market cap. I actually could argue Brett is maybe less risky, but it's a lower market cap, which means it'll take less money to move it a higher multiple, right? So Brett would be the other one coming into support over here, right at this zone over here. It's hardly even had any major pumps. I think that you'll see a full vertical send on Brett over the coming days and weeks. And this is Brett specifically on Base, right? Brett on Base, the one that gives you exposure to Coinbase as a chain, or at least the Base chain, because there is no coin there. Speaking of which, they have speculated in recent interviews that there might actually be a coin that comes out. But right now, if you go and you look for a base coin, 100% you're buying a scam one. The only way you can really get exposure to a base in terms of the meme coin is going to be buying Brett, right? So that's the next one. The other ones that we're having a look at, of course, is Andy and Landwolf, right? Andy and Landwolf. So we can go to Andy and Landwolf. Where is it? Here's Andy. There we go. We got Andy over here sitting at $302 million market cap. So Brett, 11.5 billion was the top that Brett put in terms of market cap. Let's quickly see what was, 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗙𝗙 was 11.5 billion. Let's see what Brett was in terms of market cap, or is in terms of market cap. We'll quickly click on that. That is currently 1.65 billion, right? 1.65 billion. So this is a 10x just to catch up to where 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗡 has been recently. I think this is a huge opportunity, right? A huge opportunity. I think that this one, a 20x on Brett, is a possibility from current prices. I think 15x from here is almost guaranteed. 20x is a possibility, and even 50x is a possibility. Next up, you have Andy. Remember, 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗡, Brett, Andy, and Landwolf are all friends, right? They're all friends in the comic book series. $301 million market cap. You can see cup and handle formation grinding into the zone. Hasn't yet broken out. The measured move conservatively is going to take this, up 91%. And then you can always reevaluate, see what the sentiment looks like going into that zone. So that is Andy. If you go to Landwolf, sitting at $230 million market cap. So again, going down the risk curve, we had 11.5 billion for 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗡. We had 1.5 billion for Brett. We had, 320 for, at least for Andy. And now we have $230 million market cap currently for Landwolf, which is currently breaking out, trading up towards new highs, invalidation pretty much below that candle low. We spoke about this, doing very, very well, right? So Andy on ETH, Wolf on ETH, right? You can see the contract addresses. Just look over there, rewind the video, ends in 7E69. Personally, I purchased these just straight through my MetaMask swap function. And then the high risk to reward opportunity, the highest beta play, the lowest market cap coin out there that's going to provide you those outsized returns is going to be, of course, BirdDog. $10 million market cap. Imagine it catches up to the others. We spoke about this, right? The breakout and possible consolidation. I don't even know if you're going to get the throwback back down into 1712. But if you do, that becomes a screaming buy. If not, expect that this thing could just continue to expand from here, right? So BirdDog, also one of the characters that featured in the Boys Club, Matt Fury's collection, from his comic series. And we went from the highest cap now to the lowest cap. This is the lowest cap at 10.14 million. So there are plenty of opportunities. Whale Room members already 10x on this particular opportunity since we dropped it in the Whale Room Discord. By the way, the Whale Room Discord link is below for those of you who are not already in there. I do also want to remind you that when it comes to the show content from next week into next year, we're going to be, at least the team that helped to drive the shows are going to be taking some time off. So I'm not going to be around, right? The only place I'm going to be able to communicate with you is, of course, in Whale Room. So please use the link in the description below if you do want to join. So those are some of the opportunities. We're not done yet. There's more, right? Goku's another one, right? Goku's another one that the Whale Room members are 10x up. But the good news is Goku's now breaking into this trading range over here. And we can see it goes level to level, right? You form a trading range. Now you're looking to break into the next trading range over here. If you can continue to consolidate at current price levels and open up a new trading range, this is what creates those trends in motion, right? So great opportunities there. Those are some of the coins that I'm looking at. You can go one step further and you can get at least opportunities within the meme coin sector without even taking on leverage, right? Now, some of you may or may not know about Metis as a chain. Metis is a chain. We always say, get the best meme coin on the chain and buy the chain. Like, so buy, for example, ETH, buy 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗡. You can't buy base, but buy Brett, right? So the one thing that you can look at over here is Medusa. Now, there's an opportunity for you to get a free allocation in 𝗓𝗓. 𝗓𝗓 is, as it says, an ancient legend reborn as the proud mascot of 𝗕𝗓𝗧, right? This is coming out very, very soon. There's currently tasks that you can complete. There's a link in the description below that will take you there. I'm currently invested in the 𝗕𝗓𝗧 protocol. If you go over here, or at least into 𝗓𝗓𝗧 as a meme coin, if you go over there, you can click on that link. It says interact.io/𝗓𝗓𝗧. Click on that. Make sure you use that link, because if you don't, it's going to send you to the wrong place and you could end up getting scammed, because you actually have to connect your wallet, right? Once you do that, it will take you to this page over here. I connected my Phantom wallet. There's multiple different options of what you can connect. You complete these tasks. They're going to be doing an airdrop, I think, as soon as this week, right? They're lining up tier 1 exchange listings, OKX, Bybit, Bitget, etc. I can't remember all of them, but that's going to be coming soon. I think this one's going to absolutely cook if you want exposure to the 𝗕𝗧𝗧 ecosystem and you want to get the top meme coin on 𝗕𝗧𝗧. I've completed some of the tasks. Essentially, you just come through over here, connect your wallet, click complete, click on each thing, and you'll get points, right? Through those points. So here you see, you repost it. There we go. I've reposted it. Go back over here. You click verify in 0. Once I click on that, it will verify. Did I actually retweet it? There we go. Done. Completed. I got another 10 XP, right? Points. And you can go through this list over here, qualify for the airdrop. We'll see what it's worth. I think it's basically giving you a great valuation at current levels if you do complete this before the masses come in, right? So that's what we're looking at over there. Foxy as well, putting in a massive cup and handle formation over here. You can see this is what I'm talking about when I showed you just now in terms of where some of the altcoins are at in relationship to their huge cup and handles. A lot of the alts are only over here. Foxy starting to move up over here, waiting to break this resistance level, and we're going to continue to keep an eye out on that. Let's quickly have a look actually at 𝗕𝗧𝗧 before we move on from here. So 𝗕𝗧𝗧, here's 𝗕𝗧𝗧. Okay, there it is. 𝗕𝗧𝗧, same thing, right? All started off like this. Falling wedge formation turns into a cup and handle because it's kind of slow out the gates from the break of that falling wedge. Slow out the gates, but nevertheless, 𝗕𝗧𝗧 putting in higher highs and high lows. So again, 𝗓𝗓𝗧, if you want access to that, there's a link in the description below. And then also, guys, just a reminder, whale room traders are killing it, right? This is our team. This is our team over here of coaches. Phantom Trade, one of the top performers, already 500% up from Josh the Navigator. We also have Farouk with plenty of long trades over here. Scalp trades in and out. Link 419%, still riding that trade right now. We have 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗏, GOAT 176% up. If you want to access and participate in Whale Room, the link is in the description below. That's going to be the only way to communicate with us over the December time. So that's it from me, folks. I'll catch you all on the next one. I hope you have a stellar day. Understand you have to go further down the risk curve if you do want to succeed. And I still believe meme coins are where it's at. I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a stellar day, and cheers for now, fam.